Sunday, the North London derby, a walk in the park, wasn't it, in the end, for Arsenal, beating Spurs by 4-1. Frank Buff still with us, as is Dimitar Berbatov. So we've talked about Manchester United, one of your teams losing. Let's talk about another former team, shall we, Dimitar?
Oh, boy.
A bit of a jinx, isn't he? I know, I just blame him for everything. We've got Bayer Leverkusen coming up. How much was this Spurs being bad? How much was this Arsenal being great?
Not a good days for my former team, guys.
No.
Yes, you're right. Spurs were very bad. Spurs were very bad. Not taking away the way Arsenal is playing, how they were entertaining at that particular day, the goals they score, Eze on the great form with a hat-trick. But Spurs, as always, that consistency in their performance is not there yet. You know, getting good results, mixed with the bad results. And at one point, when you play your rival in that North London derby, where you need to be 100%, you are going a bit defensive approach in that game with 5 at the back, which is not aligned with Spurs' way of playing football. And when you have someone like Arsenal with their ability on the ball, they will find that space. They will find that pass. They will have a chance to score like they did. And unfortunately, again, on that particular day, Spurs were not in a good shape or form whatsoever through the whole game. Yeah, they scored a nice goal, but still, in the end, it was humiliating for everybody to watch.
Frank?
Yeah, I agree. I was just checking that Fulham won, so the good thing for Dimitar for the weekend. Ooh, good things. And I'm not sure about Monaco, but whatever.
All right, get on with your answer. Stop sucking up.
Yeah, I'm going to answer. Well, he said everything. Now, there is not much to say. You know, that was an humiliating defeat from Spurs because they didn't try anything. They didn't try. Well, maybe they couldn't. Maybe Arsenal were too strong for them. But I want to believe that Tottenham's and Thomas Frank, they are better than that. And we didn't see anything. Credits to the Gunners because they were absolutely fantastic. I mean, I really like Declan Rice, and every time I see him playing, I love the involvement that he put into the game defensively, but also what he brings offensively. And the first pass that he makes to Eze when he scored his goal. I mean, that guy is amazing. But he's the mirror of what I see from every players and the involvement that they have to win the games every weekend. So that was amazing what I saw from Arsenal, and really appalling from Spurs.
What's the big problem with Spurs? Obviously, they sacked Ange Postecoglou despite winning the European trophy. Thomas Frank came in, and he hasn't had the impact that I think people were hoping for, Dimitar.
Well, let's not jump to conclusion, right? Again, it's easy, and of course, the first one to be blamed is the manager, as always. You can easily change the one manager and not 22 players. But I mean, it's too early to judge. It's still very early days for Spurs with Frank in charge. He's going to hopefully find his footing, find the way to make Spurs play in the way that everybody wants them to play, which, of course, is more entertaining football. Like in the first months or weeks in Ange, when he stepped in charge, he was playing that attacking football. Everybody was admiring him. That, of course, after that, unfortunately, things didn't go well for him and the club. Now Frank is playing a bit more flexibility depending who he's playing on, sometimes more defensively, sometimes more direct. But still, it's early days. I would like to give him more time with the team because I think he's in the right place with his vision for the game. Of course, as he now knows, it's not going to be easy. Here is more exposure for him. Spurs is a big team. So he needs to get the result. But the only thing that I would like for them to get is the consistency, which means getting the right result, even if you don't play good.
And Dimitar, consistency obviously is what Arsenal have brought to the table so far this season. For many, they've already won the title. Do you agree with that?
No. Frank knows as well, you guys know as well, Premier League is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Now comes the Boxing Day, the Christmas fixtures, the games where you'll be tested. And if you get out of these fixtures in a good results, and comes the new year, you're in a good position. If we speak about Arsenal, if they're still in the first place with good advantage on the points on the table, then they're halfway there. But let's, of course, not jump to the conclusion yet because Of course, City are dropping points. Liverpool, as I mentioned, low down in the table. But the other teams, Chelsea, of course, Frank X team, they're teams that can surprise. And 6 points is a good, cushion to have. But in the Premier League, that's nothing.
Could be 9 points, of course, Frank, after next weekend.
So, yes, exactly. That could be 9 points, but that could be 3 points as well. If I become better than Xhaka in math, and he could go very well. The only concern that I have, and I'm listening to Dimitar, is I say, okay, it's not crucial. 6 points is not crucial. Arsenal are not there yet, but who can beat them? If I look and watch every game that I saw, yeah, Manchester City maybe, but they lost against Newcastle. But otherwise, I don't see any consistency, which makes me think, okay, maybe that team can come back. Or Liverpool, and Stevie can witness that. I think we don't recognize them, and it's going to be an off season for them. But after that, I don't see who can really fight against Arsenal. And Dimitar is right, but right now, I don't see anybody being able to compete with them.
As we reflect on the North London derby, which was a pretty one-sided affair, it has to be said. Arsenal won it by 4-1. The first hat-trick in the derby in the Premier League era for Arsenal player Berichi Eze. 17 shots to 3. And look at the shots inside the box. 12 from Arsenal, not one from Spurs. That is the first time this season any team has failed to have a shot from inside the box. And that expected goal count of 0.07 is the lowest that Arsenal have faced in any league game this season. Just 4 touches overall in the opposition box. It looks pretty damning on Spurs' count, but how did Arsenal manage to create such superiority in the game, Jamie?
Well, they took advantage of a tactic that Thomas Frank used, not just at Tottenham, but at Brentford as well, where he likes to overload in wide areas. Now, this is what I'm talking about, and this is a perfect example, and every goal had an element of this in it. So what you've got now is Saka 1v1 against his defender. So Palhinha, again, this is a tactic Thomas Frank used at Brentford. The role is to get over here and try and lock the opposition onto this side here and not let them out. So it's 1v1. As Saka comes inside to make the pass, you've now got a situation where it's 3v2. So they're trying to overload in the wide areas and lock Arsenal here. But the quality of Arsenal is so good. The pass from Saka into that space that we'll get back to, that finds Eze, and they should be 1-0 up within a few minutes of the game with Declan Rice. Now, this is the goal. Now, Bentancur and Palhinha in the middle. We talked about this space here, but he doesn't want this ball going back inside. He wants to bring the ball here. And Saliba has a couple of opportunities, but he's not quite sure. Doesn't think the opportunity is right. And again, that was a theme with Arsenal as well. If they don't think it's right, they come back out and start again. Again, he's in this position. Again, look, he's trying to show it here. He decides not to make the pass. This time, Bentancur jumps and tries to be a little bit more aggressive, and they feel like they've got them on this side. The ball comes into Saka, goes into Timber. Stop here now. There's your 4v2. So again, they're bringing players over this side to try and lock Arsenal here. We mentioned Eze before when he made the chance for Declan Rice. Look at the space here. Theme throughout the game. It's a Thomas Frank tactic, but Arsenal were far too good and played through them, had real quality here. You can't get pressure on the ball. The run from Trossard is fantastic, and they find themselves 1-0 up. But again, it comes from that situation on that side constantly.
Jamie, just 2 points. Look at the discipline. That is very easy to talk about how Arsenal found the space. Look at the discipline of the 2 white players. 2 players are going to fix 5 players of Spurs. If you can see now Merino, like this intelligent usage of a false number 9, Eze and Merino, 2 attackers that they will always look to have that mobility and have always a line of 3 10s. Arsenal's got the ball, watch Merino. Just by that interchange of position, it just doesn't allow any Spurs players, you see it here, they can't get anywhere near, they can't mark. Just a turn, the player is allowed to go forward, it creates a 4v4 from a standing positional play action. Merino will get into the final third, as you would expect. The Spurs really compact, really working hard to try to condense the space. They get into the final third, and that is the moment that Arsenal were never going to force the play. Look at how well positioned, how condensed the Spurs structure is. But the decision of Zubimendi, the decision of Saliba, it was just to stretch and open the space. Look at just 2 passes, opens the forward line, Richarlison. Now this is where Arsenal created a numerical advantage constantly.
So Roberto, that comes from basically, sometimes you hear supporters put the ball in the box, but actually the pass that goes backwards is actually trying to entice them, and then you create more space.
So you were showing how they were trying to cover. So you don't want to leave players like Saka, you don't want to leave players in 1v1 situations. So once you create the cover, you're going to leave a space in another area. If you're going to penetrate and be very vertical with your attacks, I think the opposition are going to defend well. Here, what Arsenal did well is they managed and they control and they thought about every move. And here it comes the discipline. Again, the 2 wide players is a big difference if Trossard here is inside and is engaging one centre half. He is stopping the wide player to come in. Look at the 3-10s of Arsenal. The centre halves, they haven't got the opportunity to help the outnumbered midfielders, and this is constantly what Arsenal had, a clear direction of how to open the space in between lines of Spurs. From here, 3 centre halves marking nobody, creating a lot of work for the 2 midfielders. One more, we see it once more, the discipline, which is in the positional play of Arsenal, was fantastic. Now we're going to see a completely different rotation. Same players, the 3-10s. Here is Calafiori, Eze, and Merino. Saka, watch this movement, how to understand space and having that discipline of the 3-10s, but it will be Merino as a false number 9 that is going to be the wide player, allowing Saka to find space internally. Just watch how Spurs cannot fix any markers, cannot defend, and just Saka, with a lot of space, he can take his one space in the central area, as we mentioned, that was the area where Arsenal took advantage.